Hi, I'm Lois Nesbitt here with How to Be a Better Yoga Teacher. Today we're going to look at how to use props to make shoulder stand safe. It's a funny thing in the yoga world, but shoulder stand is often taught in beginner classes, whereas it's actually one of the most advanced poses I know. I've been teaching yoga for 20 years. I can't remember the last time I taught shoulder stand in a public class. It's just too challenging to get around and give everybody the right props and make sure they're not hurting themselves. So with caution. But if you are teaching the pose, I'll show you how to use props to help people get into the pose more comfortably, and I'll give you a couple of modifications for people who are not even able to do the full pose with support. So I've asked my friend and yoga teacher, Jody Suter, to be my demo for this one. So Jody, if you would just lie down on your back, and bend your knees, that's it, great. And go ahead, put your arms by your sides, and when you're ready, raise your legs up in the air, and go ahead, rock up into the full pose to start with, without any props. Good job. Oh, I like the use of the mat there. Place your hands behind your back for support, and then raise your legs straight up. Now, Jody has a really strong pose here. A couple adjustments I would make is that her elbows are just a little bit wide apart. So I come and lift her ankles and scoot the elbows in a little closer. And then when I'm checking, I already looked at it from the side, but just to be sure, I want to see that no part of her spine, her neck, or her upper back are on the floor. So I can slip my fingers under here and they touch. So she's advanced enough that she can do this pose in the middle of the room. But it's hard work, right? Yeah. So again, I don't know why teachers have people hold this pose 5 minutes, 3 minutes. It's too long. Okay, so even if she's actively tipping her head back, opening her throat, this is not an easy place to stay. So I'm going to release my hands. I'm going to come back down. Now, Jody's a very advanced practitioner. She has a lot of strength and a lot of flexibility and a lot of awareness. That's rare. The litmus test here is if I can't get my fingers underneath and have them touch, the student is going to need some props, specifically blankets. So Jody, why don't you roll to one side and come up to sit. The height of the blankets is going to depend on the student. The stiffer the student, the more lift they'll need. Notice I'm putting the blankets under the mat, because if you put them on top, they get a little slippy slidey. So, and this will also help to make the surface more level. Now, Jody would probably be fine with no blankets, but most students are going to need 2 or 3. If you have extra studio mats, I would prefer actually to use mats and not blankets, because the blankets are a little squishy, and they can make the rib cage sink into the surface, and that's not helpful. So, here we go. Jody's going to lie back down. Her shoulders are going to be right at the edge of the mat, so her upper back is supported. Her neck and head are off the mat. Now, sometimes it's a little challenging to get up from here, because you have extra height. You can put a block under the butt to help. Good. Go ahead, place the hands. Wiggle, before you lift up even, interlace your fingers and wiggle your elbows closer together. That's it, girl, good. And then, there you go. Now, onto the back. Okay? Lift the legs. Now again, even here, even with the help of the blankets, she's still tipping her chin back. Okay? We don't want chin to tuck here. That's going to flatten out the neck and strain the vertebrae at the back of the neck. So, little opening. A little easier to hold here, right? Much. Okay, so if you're in a class that's doing a long shoulder stand hold, take the blankets. Set yourself up so you can stay in better alignment with less effort. It'll pay off much better than straining and falling into misalignment and hurting yourself. Okay, come on down. So if your students are strong enough and flexible enough in their shoulders and upper back to do the full pose with the blankets, by all means, encourage it. Roll to one side. If you have students who are a little less strong, might need a little support from the wall, bring them out over to the wall. Jody, you're going to sit down with your one hand facing the wall. So go like facing in should be easier. So scoot right in like this, so your right hip is actually touching the wall. Otherwise, you're going to end up too far away. Good. Now swing your legs up and come to lie down on your back. Oops, now you're still too far away. There we go. Scoot in. Don't know what happened there, but yeah, hips to the wall. Okay. Arms by your sides, palm facing up, head tilted back. You can even actively pressing the back of the head into the mat will help to keep the upper back aligned. Now bend your knees, place your feet on the wall, and then lift your hips up. Get a little higher. That's it. Good. And then next stage, place your hands on your back for a little support. Can you even more, imagine your knees like you're hanging from a trapeze. So really lengthen up through the front of the torso. Beautiful. Bring the legs together. This will give you a sense of where you are in space. If this is enough for the student, they stay here. Next stage, raise one leg up in the air, but keep the inner knees together. Beautiful. And then try the second leg. If you have your students at the wall doing this pose, they might get tired after a while. No problem. They can put their feet back on the wall for support. Okay? Good. And even more support if someone needs it. A block. Oops. Turn around. That's what happens. People come out of poses. Okay. Lower the hips, and you place the block right on the sacrum. I don't know if you play that. Is it good spot? Yeah. Okay, good. And then she has the option, she can just take her legs straight again against the wall, feels against the wall, or if she's feeling a little bit more awake, she can take the legs out. And if you really want to challenge your students, you can even put a second block on their feet. Make sure that they're keeping their legs really awake and alive. Now even here, she's doing a little bit of work though. This isn't a rest pose. So the shoulders are pressing back. I have her have the palms up and the head's curled back. Good job. To come out, she bends the knees, places the feet on the wall, lifts the hips up, lowers them down, and rolls to the side to come out. So many options for the same pose. If you have a group class, it's nice to have everybody doing some stage of the same pose. If someone says they can't do a shoulder stand, don't have them just do a seated forward bend. Think of something that's related to what you're doing. So I just gave you a whole series. Full pose no prop, full pose blankets, supported feet on the wall, legs up the wall, even the support underneath, okay? So have your props ready. Have your, I think of it like a drop-down menu, ways to make things easier, and a drop-up menu, ways to make things more challenging for the students who could use a little more. Thank you, Judy.